turkey crazy at Station 75. We're talking deep frying turkey and all the fixins. We've got Captain David Paige standing by to show us how to do it all and how to do it safely. Come on along for the ride. Captain Paige, Station 75, thanks for having me. No problem. I am so excited to be with you again in Station 75's kitchen. This time, we're doing a little Thanksgiving twist. We've got turkeys we're going to talk about in a little bit. We've got some other fire safety tips as well for folks. But your specialty is what's laid out on the counter in front of us. Tell me about the turkey prep.
Turkey prep's pretty simple. I'm going to start with just regular yellow mustard. And this isn't really for any type of flavoring per se. This is really just to help the seasoning stick to it. I'm going to put a pretty liberal portion on it, rub it in. Put mustard on there just to help adhere the seasoning to it. Not really going to add any mustard flavor to the turkey. It's just simply to help, kind of a binder for everything. From there, I'm just going to use a simple injection. It's just a little seasoned injection. I'm just going to go in certain parts of the meat, add a little bit of it. Just going to add a little bit of juiciness to it on the inside of it. Obviously, frying it, we're going to have it all on the outside. Just a little tip, make sure you don't save that after you're done, because I am kind of cross-contaminating it with the turkey. So I've seen people that have tried to keep it after they're done. If you want to keep it, pour it out in a bowl and kind of measure what you're going to use before you actually get to work. That way you have some that hasn't been compromised left over that you can use somewhere else. All right, so now that I've basted it, putting the injector on there, I'm just going to coat it with just some Cajun seasoning. Pretty liberal, because even with the mustard on there, a lot of it's going to come off in the fryer. Just want to make sure you get this in all over the bird. Good coating on it. It's going to help with the skin also. When the skin crisps up, gets a nice flavor. And then last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to prep this for the fryer. Put it on the stand. You always got to make sure if you're going to fry it that you have one of these. Helps keep the bird upright, and then it helps make it easy to get the bird out of the oven or out of the fryer when you're done cooking it. Just going to get them set on there. All right, so right now I have the propane going. I have the oil up to 350 degrees. A couple things safety-wise that I want to do is use some gloves. Okay, not just, you notice I took the purple gloves off. I want to put some gloves on that have some heat protection or fire protection. These are actually some old fire gloves of mine that are not in service anymore for firefighting, but I still kept that I can use around the grill or the fryer for this instance. A lot of places actually sell these style gloves, barbecue gloves, just something with a gauntlet style, protect your arms and your wrist. Another couple of things safety wise you want to do, make sure the fryer is out away from the house. If something were to happen, you don't want the house catching on fire. If it's out in the open, it's a lot easier for the flames to be put out without impinging on the house itself. From there, we're going to take the turkey, we're going to take it outside, and we're going to shut the fire off. Your temperature is going to be about 350. Shut the flame off. That way, if there is any spillage, it's not going to ignite. You're going to be in a safer position. We're going to take this guy, we're going to lower him slowly into the oil so that we don't overflow. Make sure that you're not filling that pot up more than half full, and make sure you're not using a bird that's really too much larger than 15 pounds. Obviously, you'll see the pot we have is a good size for these size birds. This one's about 13 pounds. We're going to go about 3.5 minutes a pound on these at 350 degrees. And then once we're done there, we'll let this sit. We'll have a nice turkey.
Hot Eats will be back in 1 minute.
It is Texas law that all drivers must safely move over when a fire truck is behind them. And when passing any stopped emergency vehicle, all drivers must slow down to 20 miles an hour below the speed limit. Fines start at $200, but if someone is injured because a driver refused to move over or slow down, fines can balloon to $2,000 and a judge can order jail time. So please move over or slow down.
Thank you, Planet Ford, for being a proud community sponsor of the Spring Fire Department.
The bonds of fellowship are one of the fundamental cornerstones of human society. Every culture that is or has ever been has based the value of their existence on wars they waged, the art they created, and the dishes they served. So is the story of the American experience, a culturally chaotic land of misfits whose most unifying moments often come at the dinner table. And of all the old world methods of creating meals, only one encompasses American unity. It's the time spent on a grill, and the food pulled from it.
We have the turkey out there frying, and we're gonna do two sides, kind of non-traditional sides, but stuff we really like around the station.
Okay.
One is cream corn, and the other is going to be a cornbread dressing with some andouille sausage.
Okay, well, let's get started. Prep it all up. Let's talk ingredients. And I noticed you guys like the kind of pre-cut things.
Oh yeah, definitely. It makes it, here at the fire station, don't know when a run's gonna come in, so the more stuff that I can have prepped before I get started, obviously it's gonna make stuff go by a lot quicker. The onions and whatnot I have ready here. We use the cornbread. This is already pre-made cornbread.
Perfect.
Just gonna put it in there for right now. And then I'm gonna get going on this. I gotta saute these, so we'll get over here to the pan. I just reset the gas for the cooktop. An emergency run had come in for the medic unit, and it shuts off all the gas appliances here in the kitchen, mainly for safety. So in case we've got to leave quickly and somebody forgets to shut something off, it doesn't stay on, burn up the kitchen.
Ooh, it's about to smell real good in here in about a second.
I'm gonna get the onions and the jalapenos ready for the cream corn.
Okay, perfect.
So I'm just gonna dice those up.
All right, now where did you learn this recipe? Wait, is this like handed down in your family? Are you
no,
responsible for making this every year? What's
I
the
am
story?
responsible now for making it every year. The dressing started as a request from my father-in-law for something he's a fan of andouille sausage, so I kind of looked up a couple recipes and figured out one that he liked. And then from there, it's kind of blossomed into, we make it every year. The dressing is an Emerald's recipe.
Okay.
And then the cream
Can't go
corn.
wrong.
Right, exactly. The cream corn is kind of a mix up of a couple recipes that I found over the years, and the guys like it. So I'm gonna seed these because we're looking more for
With
the
bare
flavor.
hands, I'm impressed.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm not gonna touch anything.
I gotta get my gloves out.
Yeah. I got enough stuff going on the rest of the day.
I will inevitably rub my eyes as soon as I do that.
Oh yeah. It keeps you from doing it though, so that's a plus.
That's true. What does Thanksgiving look like at the station?
Well, we try to get the families up here. I know this year it's going to be tough with everything going on, but we usually try to have the families of all the members come up here that are on duty because, Thanksgiving is a family holiday. Come over here, I got the butter melted. I'll put these guys in here to get going. I also want to saute those up, and then while that's going, I'll get the andouille sausage diced up.
Now you mentioned, ideally you want your turkeys frying while you're doing all the sides, so you can kind of be a little more efficient with your time.
Exactly.
So we need to check on those turkeys every 5 minutes.
Yep, I want to check on them every 5 minutes, just make sure the oil hasn't gotten too hot.
Okay.
Make sure that everything's still where it should be. They're pretty much, the pot is kind of self-sufficient, if you would say. So I just got to keep an eye on it, make sure the temperature's where it needs to be.
All right, the sausage is in, and now where's the bacon going?
Bacon's gonna be for the cream corn.
Okay. So you're doing
Gotta have
two
bacon.
sides at the same time. You got this rocking.
So what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna move this one to the back so that I can get the bacon going, get it a little crispy. It's gonna go into the corn. And Michelle, I appreciate your help. Normally I'd have one of my firefighters being over here taking care of this, but you're doing an outstanding job, so thank you.
Happy to serve, Cap.
Just cutting the bread into little tiny pieces. It's gonna get mixed in with the cornbread. It's all gonna get cooked in the oven.
All right, so once you combine all that in a big bowl, where is it going next? Into a big baking dish?
Yep. So I put a little salt and pepper into the mixture, just for a little seasoning. Now I'm gonna put some fresh thyme. I'm gonna pull it off the stem, give it a little chop real quick, and then mix it in with the rest of it.
I know you mentioned your girls at Thanksgiving. Did they help you cook in the kitchen as well?
Oh, definitely. I try to get them in there as much as I can. They're 8 and 5, so
fun.
they're curious, definitely, but we try to keep it safe in the kitchen.
Yeah, what are some safety tips?
Definitely with the kids, keep an eye out on the knives. Around Thanksgiving, everybody's using the big carving knives. They want to cut the turkey, cut all their food, and a lot of times the kids see that and they want to emulate their parents or whoever's cooking, and they'll take the knife and they really don't fully grasp yet what's going on. So definitely keep an eye on all your knives. Keep them away from the edges where the kids can take them, and then just heat. The cooktop, the stove.
Right.
Keep the kids away from it. All right, so all I'm gonna do is mix this up.
All right, and how long is that dressing gonna bake for?
It's gonna make about 25 minutes covered, and then we'll uncover it, bake it for about 15 more minutes, get the top nice and crisp, good to go.
Awesome, and then you'll just You could serve it right in your baking dish or
That's
put it in a bowl.
Yeah,
or
you don't even have to be, you know, super fancy.
you're not even measuring. It's just toss it in and get
Right. Yeah, on the chicken broth, it just is, you want to get it to a softer consistency, a little more moist, but not too much. It's kind of like the pancake mixes where you just add water.
And it'll bake for how long again, like that?
So we'll bake it for about 25 minutes covered. After the 25 minutes, I'll go ahead and take the foil off, cook it for about another 15 minutes till it's ready, till it's nice and set up.
Hot Eats will be back in 1 minute. Elm and Magnolia in Old Town Spring is open for business, and they are plenty equipped for socially distancing. Come on out, see Chef Joe. He's got a fantastic menu and tons for folks to enjoy out here.
We are, I would say, to categorize ourselves, we're a restaurant, we're an event center. We have live music, Wednesdays through Sunday, dinner only, Wednesday through Friday. Saturday and Sunday, we open at 10:30 for brunch, and we have live music for that as well. We'd love people to come on down and have nice dinners with their friends and family, or book us out for events.
Grill Your Ass Off has one simple mission: continued camaraderie. Whether it be the labels that bring you a smile or names that bring a personal connection to your times and service. At the end of the day, we want you to be there with your family and good food. Because we all know, no matter what the race, politics, or thoughts, good food brings all Americans together.
I've drained the corn, both cans, and then, because we're gonna add our own liquid to it, not use the corn as juices. Stir them in, mix them in with the onions, jalapenos, and the bacon. Kind of saute the corn a little bit in there till it softens the corn up just a bit. We're gonna put some cream cheese, a little bit of half and half in here. All I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna kind of cube up the cream cheese so that it gets in there and works its way into the corn a little easier. Put the pieces in around the corn. You'll like this, no real measuring cup. Just kind of eyeballing the consistency as I work the cream cheese in here. And now I'm gonna put the half and half in, just to kind of give it that little bit of a cream cheese or cream corn look. So this you can actually prepare ahead of time and then keep it warm. And then when it's time to eat, right before you eat, get your broiler going, throw this guy underneath, melt that cheese, put a nice little crust on it, off you go.
All right, while we're waiting, talk to me about this week's training evolution that we're showing everyone.
Okay, so forcible entry, basically when we get to a house, we can't get inside for whatever reason. Either there's somebody in there that needs medical assistance, there's a fire, multiple different reasons why. We're going to use tools that we have at our disposal on the fire truck to make access to that building. Our goal is to get in the house, get into the building, wherever it is, and to get the people out or to treat them for whatever's going on with them. So once we arrive on scene, there's an assigned firefighter on the truck. His job is called the irons. And the irons are basically a set of tools. There's a flathead axe and what's called a halligan. It looks similar for civilian terms, almost like a pry bar. And we use that in conjunction with that axe to help us get in the door. Now a lot of times you think maybe like Hollywood style where they're beating the door in with the axe or anything, but it's actually there's a lot of technique involved in it. The firefighter is going to take that set of irons, they're going to go up to the door, and there's 3 different steps that they're going to think about the whole time, and it's basically gap, set, force. And the gap is, they're trying to make a gap, they're trying to get a purchase point in the door. A lot of doors are cheaply made, they're hollow core, they're easy to get into. We don't really worry about those as much. The solid core doors, the doors made of different materials, those are the ones that we're going to have to worry about. Metal doors, metal frames. So that gap, that first step, they're going to try to find that purchase point however they can. So they're going to sound the door, they're going to be hitting the tools on the door, and they're going to take that door and create that purchase point. From there, they're going to set the tools. They're going to set the tools into the door frame. They're going to set the tools where they need to be. And then the third step is the force. And so that's where the brute force comes in. That's where you see the firefighter actually using their strength, their ability to get through the door. Now, like I said, there's a lot of technique involved, and there's actually a lot of science involved with the halligan itself. Getting that halligan in a certain point provides them the ability to use its advantage, its mechanical advantage, more so. So a stronger guy might just use his brute strength, whereas a weaker guy might be able to use that halligan and use the science involved in it, the physics involved in it, to force open that door. So the gap set force is really something that takes 5 seconds to start the force from the gap to set. The force is the longest, obviously, but once they start the force, they can get in the door fairly quickly.
That is so fascinating. I had no idea how much science and thought went into that. You're right. You kind of just imagine it, like you said, like Hollywood style.
Right.
But actually, there's a lot going on behind the scenes to make sure everyone stays safe and gets in quickly.
Oh yeah, definitely. Lots of training, and by having this prop at every station here in Spring, it helps us and it helps our guys be, masters at their craft and get in those doors and those places a lot quicker and get the people out. That's why we're here.
Fire department! Fire department!
Hot Eats will be back in 1 minute.
The bonds of fellowship are one of the fundamental cornerstones of human society. Every culture that is or has ever been has based the value of their existence on wars they waged, the art they created, and the dishes they served. So is the story of the American experience, a culturally chaotic land of misfits whose most unifying moments often come at the dinner table. And of all the old world methods of creating meals, only one encompasses American unity. It's the time spent on a grill and the food pulled from it.
If you have the desire to serve, the courage to act, and the ability to perform, the Spring Fire Department wants you to volunteer with us. Learn how to volunteer with us at springfd.org/volunteer.
All right, it's turkey time. Ready to pull this bad boy out.
So what we're gonna do first, we're gonna shut the gas off, shut the fire off. And this is gonna stay hot for a while. So anybody that's gonna use a fryer, they're gonna have to realize this oil is gonna stay hot. I mean, think about how long the oil stays hot when you're just cooking something small.
Right.
This is a good amount of oil right here.
And you're using your firefighting gloves.
I have an old pair that I don't use actually for firefighting anymore. So they've been reconditioned into turkey frying gloves. So I'm gonna pull the turkey out slowly, kind of let a lot of the juices drain off. Once a lot of it's off, I'm gonna go ahead and pull it out, put it on this rack. Again, just let it sit for a little bit, see if there's anything else.
So once the oil is cooled, how do you dispose of that properly?
I just keep the bottle that it came in.
Okay.
Keep it in the carton. I get a little funnel, pour it back in there, and then just dispose of it. A lot of places actually take used cooking oil. You can look around for those that'll take it and process it. Just make sure, try not to pour it out somewhere unnecessarily. Gonna mess up yard, grass, whatever, but usually just get it right back in here and dispose of it properly.
Walk me through one more time the most important steps when it comes to taking the turkey out of the fryer.
Make sure the fire's off. That's number one. Turn off the fire, let it sit for a minute. It's still going to be cooking, so be ready for that. Use gloves, arm protection, get the devices that came with the fryer itself, the hook. Get in there, slowly pull the turkey out, let it drain, just like anything else that you would fry. And once it's done, make sure you have a dish for it to sit on and then for it to cool off. And you want to let it sit probably 10-15 minutes before you try and carve it. And from there, it's ready to go.
What do you do if it does catch on fire?
If the oil does catch on fire, if it spills over the top and catches fire, the first thing to do is just shut the propane off instantly. If it's a small fire contained, we want to be sitting outside anyway, away from any buildings when we're doing this. So any type of fire should be quickly put out. If you have a fire extinguisher on hand, a little home fire extinguisher, dry chemical. Don't ever use water.
Right.
That's the huge thing. A lot of people on cooking fires, that's where they go wrong, is they use water to try to put it out.
All you're seeing, you're panicked. You see flames and you just think water, and you just sometimes don't have time to process what exactly is happening.
So they're correct. And the easiest thing to do is shut the fire off and put the lid back on. Because most of the time when people have fires, it's because it's boiled over, they had the lid off, oil got out, it got ignited. Just shut the gas, which is your supply of fuel, and then put the lid on it and it'll suffocate it, put it out.
Okay, we got all that out of the way. Is it turkey time yet?
It is.
Okay, let's go.
Let's do it. Now we've let them cool for a little bit.
Okay.
Since the skin's nice and crispy, it's a lot better to just kind of tear off the pieces. We'll take the wings off, we'll take the legs off.
Okay.
Kind of Renaissance Festival style.
Okay. Boy, I got spoiled rotten today. Thank you so much for having me here. This was awesome. I mean, like, round of applause for real. It's so good. And you made it look so easy. So thanks for the confidence boost as well. And hey, what do y'all think? Everybody got spoiled. The corn is great. I'm with you on that. Just absolutely awesome. thank you. Hats off to you for sure. And to all of you guys watching, we appreciate y'all watching Hot Eats with us and moving through the new times and working with us as well through all of our series. We hope you have a very happy holiday.